Namaskaram, hello, welcome to Cinephile India. In this video, we are going to review Hit, the third case. Hit 3, the third film in the Hit franchise, written and directed by Dr. Sailesh Kolanu. This one starts Nani in his first ever A-rated movie, which is, at least the trailer is concerned, as violent as Animal or even Marco, as some say. How is the movie? I loved it. I enjoyed it. I totally enjoyed it. Happily recommend watching this movie to everyone. Now, there are some issues in the movie, but we'll get into the details. But overall, as a movie point of view, this is, dare I say, it is as good as the first Hit. So we'll explain all those in the details. And before I go into the details, please do like my video. And if the first time watching my channel, please do subscribe. Now let's get into the details. Hit 3, or Hit the third case rather, starts with Arjun Sarkar, who is a hot-headed police officer. We already noticed that in the trailers. It doesn't deviate much from it. The story itself is predictable. What starts off as a investigative investigation rather, slowly morphs into a much more personal, emotional journey. It's not about the person it's not about the case. It's not about a particular victim. It's about the character. I think the character takes more precedence than the investigation itself. That is what I liked about Hit 3. This is a stark departure from Hit 2. Among all the Hit series, if I were to rank, Hit 1 was amazing. Hit 2 was for me personally, it was a letdown. It was predictable. There's nothing going on in the movie, the useless characters. It was okay. But Hit 3, Dr. Sailesh Kolanu had spent a lot of time doing the homework in making sure the character takes precedence over the investigation, and it shows in every frame. The story is predictable, as I said. You won't get any brownie points for guessing anything. It's very easy to guess what might be going on. However, what kept me engaged from the start to finish is the really good, fun screenplay that Sailesh Kolanu had written. Now, it has its down moments, especially in the second half. I did feel the first half felt a little bit longer. I just felt that the interval could have been much earlier to kind of deliver a much better impact. But anyway, that's my personal opinion. But however, as far as the screenplay is concerned, he kept you engaged in every frame. Being a doctor, being a medical doctor, Dr. Sailesh Kolanu kind of tried to explain every little medical nuances in exposition. I did wish he hadn't done it, but it is what it is. I mean, in Saindav, he tried to do this bullet thing, you know, if you know what I'm saying. In here, he explained certain medical terms, like, those, are they needed? No. Do they add anything to the story? No, absolutely not. That is why I felt those are unnecessary. I'd rather him focused on a much more logical approach with respect to catching criminals, or chasing the victim, chasing the criminal, or catching the criminal, or engaging in combat. But having said that, those minor issues can be completely overlooked in the grand scheme of things, because Hit 3 delivers on its promise of not showing violence for the sake of showing violence. Like Marco was a classic example. Was basically, the director must have thought about these violent scenes and made a feeble story around it. But Hit 3, the violence in this movie on every frame, it is completely justified. It makes sense to me. That is why I usually feel squeamish. I'm squeamish when I see blood. I usually avoid heavily violence movies that have heavy violence. But in this case, I didn't feel bad at all. It felt natural to me. It felt more organic. It felt part of the story. That is what I liked about this movie. And Nani, as usual, delivered, I think, one of his performances where this is the first time he's acting in an A certificate movie, which is out and out adult movie with respect to, be it the dialogue, be it the kind of action sequences, the violence that he kind of unleashes on the bad guys in the second half. It was good. It was very satisfying. And I must tell you, don't miss the climax of the movie. This will be one of those movies where the climax single-handedly would make this movie a blockbuster. For sure. You won't be disappointed with the climax. I was waiting for that kind of high from the beginning of the movie. Like, okay, I knew the character, I understood the character, but I'm waiting for that high. This investigation is going on, something is building up, but I wasn't really getting that high. Where is that high? And Sailesh Kolanu tied up everything very nicely in the climax, and he delivers a banger of a climax in this movie, and I absolutely loved it. And the surprising element that added to that absolute adrenaline rush in the climax is Mickey J. Meyer's BGM. It was very subdued, very subdued. I loved it. But in the climax, he unleashes his beast within him, just like how Sailesh and Nani and everybody else who is involved in this movie unleashed. And this is one of those movies where I am very happy that female characters are not shown as mere flower pots. I mean, I was annoyed with Srinidhi Shetty's characters until the first half of the movie, because like, what was the purpose of her character? It was absolutely unnecessary. The love track was absolutely corny. It didn't make any sense to me. It felt out of place in the grand scheme of things. But I'm happy to say it makes sense in the end. Everything pays off very well in the end. It was not a flower pot character. It's not just one Srinidhi Shetty's character. There is another police officer who is on Nani's, Arjun Sarkar's hit investigation team. So yeah, overall, it was a very well made movie. I had so much fun watching the movie. I'll definitely recommend watching it to anyone, but obviously don't go with kids. And if you are squeamish, maybe you avoid it, but definitely don't go with kids. So that's it for this review. If you like this review, please do like my video. If you love the movie, or if you didn't like the movie, please do explain in the comments why. I would love to know more about your opinions. And if it's the first time watching my video on the channel, please do subscribe. And later in the day, I'm going to watch a retro, and I'll be coming back with you with a review. Until then, take care.